Hey, I'm Jake Vundering with the Dallas Cycling Lab.
And I'm Lance Heffler with the Dallas Cycling Lab. Hello.
Hey guys, thanks for coming back. Today we're going to talk about the BMC Alpenchallenge AMP lineup, which is basically their e-bike series.
The e-bikes from BMC, they are fantastic and super fun.
Yes. My first experience with them is that I couldn't stop giggling. It gives you instant giggles when you get on one of these things, especially if you haven't spent a lot of time on an e-bike before and you're used to just pedaling a bike around. You get on this thing and you just can't stop laughing. It's just instant fun. So, yeah. Let's kind of talk about the four different options that they offer. So we've got the sport, we've got the road, we've got the cross, and the city. You want to tell us a little bit about what some of those differences are?
Yeah, well, the big thing is they have four different types of e-bikes, which are all very good. One is just like a road bike, like the one behind us. This is the road, so it has road frame geometry. The only difference you see is it's got the big battery on it and the motor on it.
Got your drop bars, and you get to ride that thing just like a road bike. It's a lot of fun.
It rides just like a road bike. The next model they have is the Sport
cross. Those are the next two models. So
the sport models are flat bar bikes, but again, they look the same kind of road geometry, and they have slick tires on them.
Correct.
Yep.
You've got the cross bike, which again is going to have a flat bar on it.
Flat bars.
A cross bike typically has a drop bar bike on it, handlebar on it, but the cross bike here is going to come with a flat bar, which is great for like trail riding. It kind of is akin to almost like riding a mountain bike. But you've got a cross-specific tire on there.
It's got knobby tires on it.
A knobby tire that's great for trail riding, gravel riding, and just going out and tearing up the trails. So
all the off-road stuff.
That is a lot of fun. The last one they have is the Alpenchallenge AMP City, which is really built for your city commuter.
It's made for commuters. It comes with fenders and lights. It is also a flat bar bike. So
correct.
You'll see some of those as well.
Racks too?
It does come with racks. I think one of the models comes with racks.
Toss some panniers on there. You can have some luggage or backpacks and all that kind of stuff that you can toss on there. Having the fenders is nice too, especially here in the Pacific Northwest when we hit a lot of rain. That does a fantastic job of keeping the water off you and just makes the ride
that is a great commuter bike. That's for sure.
More enjoyable.
Yeah.
Let's dig into these bikes a little bit more. We've got the different modes that you can use on them, and basically the modes are going to give you a little bit more torque, if I'm not mistaken.
When you turn on there's a button right on the battery, and when you hit the button on the battery, the little computer comes on up at the top, and you can put it on economy mode, or you can put it on trail mode or boost mode, and boost mode gives you the most assist.
And let's be honest, we all go straight to boost.
Yes, we all go right to boost because it just makes you laugh when you ride it.
Yeah. Now, the downside to that is that when you're using the boost mode, you're going to get a heck of a lot more assistance from the bike.
Right.
So it's going to be putting out more power, or what we're going to call Newton meters.
Newton meters.
And basically when you do that, it's going to drain the battery a little bit faster. So that really shrinks down the range that you have on the motor, but that range is still pretty good.
It's still good.
I think when you're fully on it and you're using that thing and climbing hills and whatnot, you're still going to get a good 25 to 35 miles out of it.
Yes.
And if you're commuting or if you're out just going for a ride, that generally for a lot of folks, that kind of hits the mark,
it's
right?
It's plenty to get you to work and back if you live within 10 or 15 miles
exactly.
of home. Yeah.
But if you go to work and say you work within that range, just keep an extra charger. It only takes, 2 hours to charge up?
To charge the whole battery.
Exactly. So you have that option as well.
One of the things about these bikes is they're pedal assist bikes. So you don't have like a throttle. It's not like a scooter where you hit a throttle and it just goes. When you have it on boost mode or any of the other modes, as soon as you start pedaling, it assists you. The more you push on the pedals, the more it assists you.
Yep.
So if you're pedaling hard-ish up a hill, it is going to assist you going up that hill.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it actually is smart enough with the Shimano drivetrain system that it knows what gear you're in, and it will actually adjust how much power it's going to be giving you there as well. So when you're going up a steep hill and all of a sudden you're in a taller gear, you're going to get a little bit more pedal assist where you're going to keep your motion going a little bit more smoothly. It's actually pretty intuitive. It's quite nice, to be honest with you. There are a couple different options with this. You've got bigger batteries, you've got bigger motors, and then you've got smaller batteries and smaller motors. And generally speaking, the bigger the battery, the bigger the motor, and the bigger the price tag. But it is, in my opinion, kind of worth it to get that bigger setup, because you're going to find more enjoyment with it. You're going to have a longer battery life, and it's going to get you where you're going to go. But that's not to say that you wouldn't get by with something that would be a smaller battery or a smaller motor. If you live in a relatively flat area and you're a lighter weight rider and you're going to be going to the office and you just want to have that pedal assist so you don't show up all soggy and wet from sweat and whatnot, that might very well suit you. I'm a little bit bigger of a guy. I'm going to want a little bit more power going up the hills, and I just am addicted to speed. So that's kind of my 2 cents. So
The beauty of them is as you push harder and it assists you more, it just helps you go faster. They're just so much fun to ride. The thing about the more expensive models, of course, you pay more, the bike is lighter, and it has more power. So you're getting like both things if you go with a higher dollar amount models.
So you just touched on weight. So you've got the different tiers. They've got an LTD, which is the top of the line, if you will. The next tier down is going to be the 1. The tier below, that's the 2, and some of them actually have a 4. I'm not quite sure what happened to the 3 there. That's a question for BMC, not for us. But let's just talk about the difference between the LTD and the 1. The LTD is going to come in at 14.6 kilograms for us here in the United States.
It's about 31 pounds.
32.1 pounds.
They're not light, mostly because the motor section is heavier, and the batteries themselves are about 19 pounds.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
So,
but when you take this and you compare and contrast it with other e-bikes that are out there on the market, this is actually pretty stinking light.
A lot of them are in the 50 to 60 pound range for the bikes, and these are only 30.
Yes, so that makes quite a bit of a difference. When you go down to the next tier down, to the 1, from the LTD down to the 1, you're at 16.1 kilograms, which equates out to 35.4 pounds. So again, not terribly bad. You've got probably a different wheel set that you're looking at. You've got heavier components, but both of these are built on a carbon fiber frame. So what's nice about that is it drops the weight down, and it kind of makes the bike feel a little bit more lively, which is really nice in my opinion. What are some of the top 10 things that you think we should come up with or share with the folks here after we've had a little bit of experience riding these things?
Well, we've had them for a few months, so we've ridden quite a bit. I tell you, you can't help but smile. You get on these bikes and you start to ride and you just giggle. Every one of our teammates or friends or family,
people that have come into the shop to check them out, they get on them, and the first thing they do is like, oh, and then they start laughing, giggle. And then they like, oh my gosh, that is so much fun to ride. So that's
then you put your wife on it, and she like giggles and laughs and rides fast, and then I put my sister on it, and then she won't get off the bike. So they certainly make you fun. So that's certainly one of the first things, is they just make you smile.
Exactly. I would also say that they're great for commuting. I did commute to the shop here one day on the bike, and it was spectacular. It just happened to be one of the days here in the summer where it was about 95 degrees.
It was warm.
When I showed up, I wasn't covered in sweat. And for me, for those that know me, I sweat a lot when I ride a bike because I'm generally out there working pretty hard. And that particular day, I rode in with a 28-pound backpack on me. I had all kinds of stuff in the bag, and I was good. Got here fine, and I don't even think I sipped off the battery very much. I mean, it was only like a 6 or 7 mile commute, and it was still at 100% almost charged, so that was pretty good. So commuting is fantastic for these things.
The other top 10 thing is hills and headwinds don't matter so much. It's going to assist you up the hill, whether if you've got it on, it's going to push you up the hill. So,
and let's just press pause on that top 10 thing. We had a bunch of friends that went out and did an Everesting challenge. And for those of you who don't know what an Everesting challenge is, it's basically you go find a hill and then you go do repeats on the hill, up and down, until you get to 29,029 feet of elevation gain. That takes a long time. And for our friends who did this, they did it on a hill that was about an 11% grade average, I believe. And I think that they ended up logging was just over 100 miles. Long story short,
like 11 hours.
That was a long day on the bike. I actually wanted to go out there. I wanted to support them. I wanted to ride with them, but I had just had shoulder surgery 2 weeks beforehand. I wasn't supposed to be on a bike until at least 3 weeks.
It was like a week.
But it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks after I had shoulder surgery. But I wanted to go out there. So I ended up jumping on the e-bike, and I climbed up this hill with them. It's about almost a mile long. And it was zero stress on my shoulder at all. And I was riding right next to them, hardly even pedaling, and they were over there just huffing and puffing away. I was able to ride with them. As a matter of fact, I just pushed a little bit harder and I rode away from them going up this hill. These things work fantastic for going up hills. So.
Actually, at the same event, I was actually on this very bike and I had put my power pedals on the bike so I could see what kind of power I was actually putting out myself. We're climbing up the hill. My buddies doing the Everesting, they were pushing about 250 watts. I was pushing 45 watts.
In the world of cycling, in the world of cycling, that's next to nothing. So
yeah, so
this bike basically turns the mortal person into Chris Froome or one of the pro tour riders. You just float uphill. It's pretty great.
Not Strava friendly.
They do have an e-mountain bike category.
They do have an e-bike category if you do.
All right, what else we got here?
The other great thing is, we just touched on this, but you can keep up with faster riders.
Yep.
I ride a lot. I ride 16 to 20 hours a week, and so I'm always out on my bike every single day. My wife loves to ride with me. I love to ride with my wife, but usually we can only ride together if I'm on a recovery ride and she's willing to work a little bit. But if she's on an e-bike, she can keep up with me on almost any ride and actually
drop me
going up the hills. I can't keep up with the e-bike going up the hills.
It's pretty spectacular, and I think she got quite the kick out of that. Poked at you a little bit on that one. So, but yeah, that's a great way to kind of bring significant others together or friends together or just people in general that like to ride, but maybe there's a discrepancy between ability levels, and it just kind of levels the playing field, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, what else we got here?
It can help you rehab injuries.
Yes, that happens. We know people all the time that are getting hurt, and if you want to get back on the bike and start, covering some mileage, but maybe you've got some contraindications there, you're just not ready to go do a big ride yet, that can really help through that process. Another little side note to that too is for people that are training all the time, and if you're on a structured, regimented program, there are going to be days where you need to back off. You need to go super easy and let your body recover, but you're going to want to do that in an active situation. Once you get somebody who's competitive on a bike and they go out and start riding, if you tell them to make that super easy, odds are they're not going to be disciplined enough to do that. And this kind of takes the, we'll say it takes that competitive thing away because it's going to give you the speed that you're jonesing for, but you're not going to be pushing the pedal super hard. So it kind of helps keep you in check there, which is kind of cool.
Can be very good. I know a lot of pro mountain bikers and pro roadies that will use an e-mountain bike or an e-cross bike to do their recovery days because they want to still go ride the trails, but don't want to do all that work going up to the trails.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things too, the more you ride bikes, the faster you want to go. So if you're going to go do an easy day and all of a sudden you're having to go 13, 14 miles an hour on flat stuff, well, you don't want to do that. And that kind of was one thing I do want to touch on. These bikes are pretty much limited. The pedal assist is only allowing you to go up to 20 miles an hour, and that's because that's the federal law. These motors, they have to be a 250 watt motor, and I'll touch on that in just a second, and they're only going to allow you to go up to 20 miles an hour. If they were to go beyond that, legally you're supposed to get them licensed and registered, and you probably have to pay insurance on that as well. So
it doesn't become a bicycle, it becomes
a motor vehicle. Basically a motorcycle. So there are some ways to get around that. We don't sell this, we're not advocating for it, but if you go on the old Google machine, you can actually look up some little chips that you can put into these systems that take that up to more than double what the speed is. Again, that's just something that you can go check out on the old interwebs on your own time. So, but the 250 watt motor, I wanted to touch on that real quick. These Shimano motors are super efficient. So that 250 watts, you actually are using all of those 250 watts. You'll hear of different motors out there that might be like a 500 watt hub driven motor, but really when it's all like transferred, and we talk about the rubber hitting the road and how many watts you're actually getting out of that, it could be maybe 100 or 150 watts, and that's going to be a big difference when we're talking about the performance of a motor. So these things are great, and Shimano makes top-notch stuff across the board. So cool. What else you got there, Lance?
It's great for old people.
For our retired folks out there, this is a great thing that you can put on the back of your rig, or you can put it into your Sprinter van, or you can, whatever you're taking out there. They're great for like taking on camping trips. If you want to go out there and see some trails, or run over to the general store, or go ride the bike around the lake, these things are fantastic. And like we touched on, they're not super heavy, so it's not like you're lugging around a 60, 70 pound bike that you got to lift up and put inside your car or whatnot. You can really kind of get these things on a bike rack pretty easily, or stow them pretty easily. So it's a great little deal. I think that's about it.
That's it.
Yeah, they're a great bike. If you have any questions, we'll have some links below. You guys can click on through there, or you can go onto BMC's website and click on the BMC Alpenchallenge Sport City Cross Road AMP bikes and read more about them. So we appreciate you listening. If you want to check out some more of these things, hit that subscribe button. Yep, little thumbs up.
Give it a thumbs up.
Break it. And subscribe if you'd like to have some more videos of ours. Be shout out to you. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.